Hey everyone, Mherex here, bringing you another video. This is going to be my showcase on Seth Rollins, the Visionary. So Seth is a modern era defensive powerhouse, and he has the raw link any color moves start with 1 more MP, and the modern era link gems do 5% more damage. Stock the Visionary gear. He's a coach. Red moves that deal damage will deal 75% more damage. This is a very nice coach. It's a significant upgrade from Snoop, who's 40%. So it's almost double the coach ability. So I do like the coach. Obviously, there's not a ton of move damage people in the game, but for anyone using red move damage, he's your ticket. So that's really cool. Also, he's S tier, so he has hot tag. When tagged into the match, deal 25 million damage and increase all of your gem damage by 75% for 1 turn. Since he has multiplies, this is actually a pretty nice boost. Even though 70% doesn't look huge, it's a pretty nice boost on top of doing 25 million. Plus, hot tags are awesome in general. So a lot of utility there. Currently, no real impactful showdown links, but I would assume we'll get, more of this crew at some point in the game, and then maybe we'll get like a vision link or something like that. But for now, mostly it's just the hot tag, and not really no link utility, right? He looks awesome. Seth has always got ridiculous gear, which I love. And this one is no different, right? If you're a Seth fan, then you like Seth and how he is and what he does, and I do appreciate his shtick. So, anyway, moving on, I'm going to start with my least favorite moveset. It's got 2 moves that I particularly don't care for. So I'll just get them both out of the way in the same one. We got the Koji Clutch 5 MP sub. Choose 10 gems to make into red sub gems. Do 780k for 3 turns. Remaining turn into botch. It's only 5 MP, which is nice, and it's a choose sub, so it loads the reds. Then we have the Phoenix Splash 580k. Modify a 5x7 random area into botch gems, then deal 580k and make the bottom 2 rows into multiply gems of strength 13. That's pretty big multiply gems. We got someone recent. It kind of is. It's like kind of like Mercy, right? And then we got the Pedigree 10 MP finisher. Deal 2.75 million damage. Destroy 22 random multiply gems, so it's not changing them a specific color. And pin the opponent. Hardcore, if opponent's style is aggressive, first deal 2 million damage and increase the strength of your multiply gems by 10. So against aggressive people, obviously this is quite a large boost to the multiplies. It almost doubles them. Also, this allows you to put the botch anniversary plate on this finisher and generate 8 more multiply gems times strength 8 and also break those. So it's clearly designed with that in mind, and then to hit aggressive people as well. So you're going to see another moveset later on where you could sub this move in particular if you're going to use that primary plate. And in that case, it's probably much better if you got an extra botch slap laying around. So we can talk about that though more when we get there. So it's kind of interesting, and then certainly against aggressive, it would be the stronger finisher, probably. But all in all, I think it's less. What's the word I'm looking for? Less consistent is the word I'm looking for. Anyway, we got Woods because that loads it with 1 for your turn, so he's loaded everywhere. This is the one I'm going to use Sherry on. If you don't have Sherry, 2 less multiply gems. Also for this, you would use Leo, but I'm not going to use Leo. I'm just going to go double zombie for 60% purple, 60% multiply, 60% multiply, 40 purple, 40 red, right? So double zombie. You'd use the sub to load it. We'll go in Sammy here. I think he's focused, and I think Steiner is chaotic, so I'm not going to go against an aggressive, because those are the ones I usually use here. So 3-3 matches, and then you can just put the rest of yours wherever you feel like it. Doesn't really matter. You're just using this to load your moves, right? Then you're just very simply going to hit the botch move. With Sherry, it's going to be the bottom 2 rows. And you can see if we did have that other plate on, 8 multiply gems would go right in here, right? And so then we'd break this bottom row and those. We're getting 1 loot box gem. and then some random colors. So it's not as consistent as what we're going to see later. And you can see 53 million damage without plates is pretty solid, to be honest. And that's my least favorite moveset. So next up, this is where he starts to get interesting, in my opinion. We're going to run triple yellow. We're going to probably directly compare him to Viscera a lot, because Viscera is a hot tag, Attitude Era defensive powerhouse, and they have some similar vibes, which is good because they both kind of do things that and use plates that aren't in high demand other than these two. So we're going to run triple yellow, Sling Blade, 6 MP, 525k damage, and gain 5 yellow MP. Falcon Arrow, 8 MP, 550k damage. Choose a 5x5 area to make into multiply gems of strength 7. I think right now this is random. I would rather it stayed random area, so it's one less thing to choose. So hopefully it does stay that way. Then deal 550k damage and make 15 random gems into heal gems of strength 2.5 million. So obviously, big heal on this as well. Those gems don't do any damage though. The heal gems, they will heal you but do no damage. Obviously the multiply gems will. And you're getting 25 at strength 7. And then finisher, King's Landing, 2 million damage, make 50 random gems into yellow gems, pin the opponent. Entourage for this, we're going very free to play friendly. Everyone has King. If you don't have him all the way to get ×2, you still get ×1 on the multiply. Then we're just going double zombie, but not the yellow zombie punk. It could be any two zombies would do the same damage as this. And we do need the Kofi here because, you know, woods is the wrong color. There we go. Right. So let's run this one without plates, and then we will put plates on for this one, this moveset. So Kofi and King give you 6 yellow MP to start. Your turn gives you 7, so you have 1 to spare, and this loads the rest of your stuff. Obviously, you could use the yellow LA Bite plate, and you'd get 100% gem damage. And then you can use the Nightmare plate, get another 100% damage, or you could use the Viscera plate ultimate and get 200% damage. So there's some options here, which is quite nice. And now you just make the whole board yellow. So 15 gems at 2.5 million. Let me math that real quick. I think it's like 45 million heal. 2.5 times 15. 37.5 million heal. And you can see the damage without any plates is not too shabby, right? I mean, like, that just, it hits well, it heals. So that's kind of gives me some Viscera vibes with his multiply set. They both actually do yellow, interestingly enough. So yeah, what if you just have, we can do Nightmare and LA Bite because those are both fairly obtainable for a lot of accounts. LA Bite Showdown Store, everyone has access to, and Nightmare Plate's been around for a long time. Nightmare Plate's going to add 100% when we make 6 or more yellow multiply gems, and then let's just do yellow. And LA Bite's going to add 50% whenever we activate a yellow move. Now, if you're, I always get people comment in videos, wouldn't it add 150% because you're using 3 moves? Yes and no. So it will add the 50%, but it activates after the move has resolved. So in this case, we hit it, move finishes, it adds 50%. So now we have 50% yellow gem damage, right? We hit this, we still have 50% yellow gem damage, we still have it, we still have it, we still have it. Now we have 100% yellow gem damage, right? So what that means is when we hit this, we're going to have 100% the whole time until the finisher completely resolves, and then that 50% goes on. So it's only 100%, not 150. And you can see 82 million. All right. That's not too bad with the 37.5 million heal, right? Considering, you know, not super high demand on those plates. In particular, LA Bite does not have a lot of great homes for it. Right. And then let's do the Visceral Visage. right here. Whenever you make one or more heal gem, increase all of your gem damage by 200%. So obviously, we're going to get another 100% right here over what we were using there. Really easy gameplay loop. And that's a cool 96 million, right? So, um, as far as other plate you could potentially use for this moveset, I don't like it at all. Yes, he has a 2 million damage finisher. It will add, here, I will show you. But he's really gem based. He does have a high finisher, but if you're not running takedown twos, or takedown threes rather, and somebody's running Fury threes, they're going to basically move your move damage to almost nothing. So a plate like the let's just do heal. Ray's mask, mysterious mask. When you make 5 or more heal gems, increase your yellow move damage by 125%. Best case scenario, it adds 125% to 2 million damage, which is 2.5 million extra damage. Nightmare adds significantly more, and at 2.5 million extra damage, it's honestly not even worth equipping for when you get a Nightmare plate and have to remove it, right? So I can't see a scenario where I would ever put this plate on him. It's still a bad plate. His move damage, it won't make a big enough difference. There's no buff, move damage buff where this could really exponentially go. So yeah, I don't think this is a good plate for him personally. But there's that. Now, I do want to move to this move set, but only run it with plates because you guys know me. If I can avoid a reversal, I want to. So let's just do that. I think I have this loadout saved. And get rid of the MP up move, right? So that's one less reversal to worry about. Now it's just multiplies. And we'll run it like this. And then I'll also throw a zombie punk on with this move set because he's going to add a little bit more. But this is the 2-click. You guys know I love 2-click. So like I said, I hope it stays random like this because it's faster. The place will only slow it down. There's no reason for it to be a choose area. So hopefully the graphic is wrong and they don't change it to match the text and the move is right. It definitely feels way better this way. And you can see that was 71 million. So it's okay. Not quite as hard. So it's kind of borderline if you want to 2-click it, right? Kind of borderline. But it is there, and let's throw Zombie Punk on since we're going for 2-click. This is one where, like, maybe if you have 150% strap. Also, I'm assuming he probably gets added to this month's moment. They usually do, right? And there's 2 ways you can do this. You could add Zombie Punk, or you could add Seth, right? And this could be the same on all of the movesets. If you have them, you would swap Zombie Punk in for one, and you could put Leo in for the others, right? They're completely interchangeable. I just try not to use the super rare stuff because it means most people can't run it. Um, so I try not to start out with that, but I'll use it usually when I'm building to show what they can do. So you can see 2-click with Leo all the way up to 93 million, which we basically hit the same as the previous build with 3 clicks, right? Without Leo. Because these multiplies are small, Leo is definitely way better than a zombie. As they get bigger, he gets less effective. But Leo is certainly important for Seth. If you have him, it adds a ton. And then in the in-between, if you have Zombie Punk, it won't add a ton more, but 40% is not nothing on this moveset. So keep that in mind. We want gem damage. I don't think I actually equipped him when I was practicing, because he hit really well. And I was like, yeah, I'll just show him without the as rare stuff. You could, yeah, that wouldn't be as good, I don't think. Right here, 40, 60, there we go. So let's show the 2-click with this. Boom. Yeah, when it's times 7 and Leo brings it to up to times 10, it's a huge difference. 76 million. So that added like about 4 or 5 million. That 40% added 4 or 5 million difference, right? So you can kind of calculate that into what you have or don't have based on the earlier stuff. Now, this is actually probably my favorite build, I think, because it's this primary color and it's very like what we ran initially. Hold on. Yeah. We're gonna do the angled blockbuster. Obviously, instead of the sub, MP up is much preferable. We're gonna bring back the Phoenix Splash, which you guys saw. And then we're gonna use the finisher you haven't seen, the Stomp, which is make 22 multiply gems into red gems, right? So we got angle blockbuster, 6 MP, 500 AK damage, gain 10 red MP. Reversal, it also reverses cross break, so it's handy as well, right? And then the Stomp, 10 MP finisher, 2 mil damage, 22 multiply gems into red. The plates we have on are doing nothing for this, so I'm not going to bother removing them. And very similar to the other moveset, we're just going to roll with King and Woods. You could run Sherry and Santa over one of these. You guys have seen my other videos. It's pretty close in a lot of them. Although this one, the multiply gems are a little bit smaller. So Sherry is in Santa will probably outdo this in a zombie. And because it's red, we definitely want Zombie Bailey because we're turning the multiplies into red, right? You could also obviously do King and Leo would be a great combo here. It would get the multiply gems up to strength 18. So that would be really nice, actually. So yeah, there's a bunch of potential here. The plates we have on right now are doing nothing. So let's just run this. Gameplay loop is incredibly simple, right? MP up, fast animation on the blockbuster. Then we got the botches going out. And then we're going to just hit the finisher. We're going to have some botches on the board, and we're going to turn all of these red. And with no plates, that's 65 million damage, which is not too shabby, in my opinion. Right? That's with no plates. Now is when we can start to really have some fun with it. Let me just go ahead and put Leo on for Brett and show you that, and then we'll throw some plates on. And the universal botch plate, or red botch plate, especially the boss man plate, have really not high universal, maybe Lex, Showboat Lex, for some damage, maybe Tech Rusev, but they're nowhere in Seth's wheelhouse with it. So you could throw the universal on there, or you could just straight up use red because he's changing them all red. So very low demand ultimate plate that is going to increase his damage here. So that's really, really cool. I love it when it's not high demand plates. Also, it's kind of funny we still do the Phoenix Splash. I don't think Seth uses that move for a long time. I could be wrong, but I can't remember seeing him do a Phoenix Splash anytime recently. So Leo bumped it all the way up to 66 million, right, with that. Now let's have some fun with some plates here. And let's start off with a Botchman plate, because these are available actually on the current prize wall that will have about 20 hours left, 24 hours once this is done being live. That's on there. Oh, here we are right at the top. 30 botch gems, all color damage by 300%, or the red. Either work the same, right? In this case, so if you have the red, you may as well use it and save the universal. If you don't, then you can go ahead and use this, right? But we'll just, for our purposes, use the red. But either or work. And 300% on multiply gems, as you guys saw with the 200% we just added, is a lot. So this should be, I haven't ran this yet. Do I still have Leo on, or did I change him? I still have him on, so we'll move back to no Leo in a second. That's 118 million with Leo. So, and it's a really simple loop. So the stuff I like about Seth is the loop is really easy, right? And the damage is good enough for pretty much what I'm looking for. Now, it might be a little bit lower than some of the tippy top powerhouses for sure. But I love the fact that he's using botches and heal gems to come up with a bunch of damage, because heal gem damage, we have two other people, Powerhouse Viscera, who I said would be an interesting comparison and probably who I'd compare him to a lot because they're both defensive. And then Special Edition Cena, Acrobat, right? Those are kind of the big two. So this is without Leo. This is the one you see on the screen now with Brett, Armor King, right? You can also use Sherry and Santa instead, as another thing to try. Oh, that's gonna be a good hit. Yeah, that's 114 million, right? So, as you add the plates and stuff, then Leo becomes seemingly less important. It feels like, but we did have a big cascade there, but pretty close damage wise between Leo and Brett, although we had a bigger cascade there, right? Now, because there's 10 spots left open and you fill 8 of them with the botch slap, it's actually decent with this moveset as well, because you're going to most likely get some extra red connections. So let's add that to it on top of it. Because the spots that are open for it to go, there's only 10. So they're going to fill in most of those spots, and we'll probably get some most likely get some pretty good link ups. Yeah. Yeah. This actually spread it perfectly wrong, with it in the middle here. So we're going to miss 2 because we're going to actually get that one. So we're going to miss 2, but all of these at the same time, you get those. So yeah, I mean, like, this is just going to add even more damage to the pile, the total. 136 million, right? And with this one, Brett affects those multiplies where Leo won't. So in this case, if you're running the botch slap, for sure don't use Leo. 100%. If you use the botch slap, do not use Leo. You want to use Brett, because Brett actually affects those multiply gems and Leo doesn't. So this is actually how I would run him if I got him. Hopefully I'll get him. When I do get him, this is how I will run him. Right, this way. This one, we're actually gonna get all of them. 148 million, right? Very, very comparable to Viscera. Other than Viscera has the unblockable traps that don't need anything. But the multiply damage is very similar with both builds. Now, I do want to do one other thing, because you guys know there's a certain thing I like in this game, and it's 2-click movesets that have less reversals. So this would be double red. This is like a bonus one, just once the plates are on. I have no idea if this will hit hard enough. So it would be red. So Sting and Butch, Sting and Roxanne, Butch and Roxanne, any combo. Santa, and then Zombie Bailey is who you'd want. And then you can skip the MP up and just 2-click the red. And this is what I'm really looking for. The 2-click stuff that hits hard enough to use in feud. Showdown, I'll do the higher damage stuff these days because there's so much healing boosts. And we're going to get all but one of the multiply gems. 115 million, 2-click. Yeah, that's chef's kiss right there. Love it. So, okay. I like this card a lot because of the simplicity, and this is exactly how I would run him. This is my favorite build, my favorite setup. Drop the here. I would run it exactly like this. Let's get this. You can keep the reversal in and counter some of those pesky cross break people looking at smash with MP down gear if you didn't check for it. Or looking at axe, right, with cross breaks. There's a couple right out the gate right there. So yeah, I would run it this way and have it set up with the reversal in. Or also in case they have MP down, right? And you don't have to look. Well, I mean, you would because we're using red. So you'd still be out. But yeah, this one is definitely the way I would run it with the 2-click, with these 2 plates in particular. Great spot for the botch slap. Best spot, actually. This makes the red big boss man kind of like in this particular spot. This is like an S tier setup, how I would rate it, because we're actually getting meaningful red gem damage on somebody that makes them hit significantly harder, right? So this is like the perfect combo, perfect setup for him. So I really, really like this moveset. Now, Powerhouse is completely stacked. There's a ton of different ways you can go for a Powerhouse, and mostly depends on hype and the extras you have. What I like about Seth is a lot of the extras you need for Seth are not in high demand, right? When you start looking, though, at Powerhouses, realistically, his damage is outclassed. Now, the flow of the moves and the damage is enough in most scenarios that, like, for feud in particular, I think he's great. He has the hot tag, which is very useful in a bunch of modes right now. The showdown links currently are not good. So I wouldn't rate him particularly high in showdown at the moment, but I do feel like we're going to get vision stuff to add with him in the game for sure. So when you look at like male powerhouses, right? Zombie Punk is kind of, for me, sort of in a league of his own with the X break plate. Seth cannot match his top damage at all. If you have the gear, Zombie Punk can also 2-click, right? For significantly harder than Seth. Zombie Punk has awesome zombie links and MP down for showdown, which is nice. But no MP up on the older one. So there's that. So I do think in a vacuum, like, Punk outclasses him, right? The hot tag, though, is really, really nice, and the potential for future showdown links. Plus, this is also Seth without being on any moment. I do think he'll probably get added to... Where are we at? Where's this Dom moment on this one? Most likely, which will give him 50% gem damage. So if he gets added to this one, actually they might not, because Seth doesn't have anything to do with this, although he did fight Ray. If anyone remembers the horrible eye angle match with Ray, I didn't really care for that. That's one of Seth's worst programs, I think, but I think that's more just because of what it was. Anyway, if they add him to this moment, which I don't know if they will, he would get +3 bigger multiply and 50% gem damage, which would be massive, massive, massive. And then you're probably talking like pumps him up to like 200 million damage with what we were looking at. And that really changes the feeling of his overall damage. That's a what if. At this point, I'm recording this, I don't know. So yeah, also they love to give Seth stuff in games. So either way, expect to see a moment for him, if not now, when they add vision people, right? Wouldn't surprise me if he got gear, because it's Seth. There's no shortage of gear you can throw on this guy. He's always wearing something crazy. Anyway, Coco has got 2 really great movesets, one with leeches, one with blast. Needs a lot of stuff. The blast plate's in high demand. They're going to be fairly similar, comparable with top-end stuff. Viscera's very, very comparable with top-end stuff. They basically flip a coin with Viscera having the unblockable. They both have a solid link, but Viscera has better showdown link, right? Modern era attitude, so that's nice. Legend, modern, So that's nice. Modern. Um, Cody is great with all the stuff still, right? Austin is a 2-click monster with Frankie plate in all of his moments. Actually, their 2-click version, I think Seth hits a little bit harder, but Austin's is less reversible. Ray has got the 2-click and swipe with the cross breaks. Turtle Ray, who can hit stupid hard. Hard to get. You have to use wild card on him, just like Punk. So that's the 2 negatives on those 2. Smash, ridiculous for an A tier with all the stuff, the MP down gear. See, they're all kind of different, so it's really hard to rate people with where the game is now with so much versatility. McDonough can hit a little bit slower, but can hit super hard with the yeet drip, right? Hogan is ridiculous with all the stuff. KO with all the stuff can hit super hard. He can also miss. I hate KO. Some people love him. But with all the stuff and all of the extra trap gem trainers, it's getting harder and harder to miss with KO. I probably need to revisit a KO build with the zombie coaches where you're getting all those extra traps now with the so yeah, probably need to revisit KO. So you're seeing the male powerhouse is stacked. Would I say Seth is clearly the best male powerhouse? Nah, I don't think so. Do I think he's as good as most of them? Yeah. So if you pull hype for him, if you're a Seth Mark or whatever, there's literally no reason you can't use him, right? With where we're at in the game, guys, it's way more now about what do you have than is this superstar the best one in their class, right? You take somebody at hype 4 that's solid, they're going to outperform somebody that's hype 2 and great, right? And Seth, I think, is very good and one of the better ones. Like, depending on how you want to rate him, you know, somewhere in the top 5, right? I love the 2-click. I put a lot of value on that 2-click we ran at the end. A lot. And so, yeah, I like him a lot. I definitely want him. Modern defensive, he's definitely is going to be the cream of the crop there. Defensive, though, we do have Viscera. And I believe Foley's defensive, but slower for sure, and doesn't hit as hard, right? So I think that's his main defensive comparisons. Now for boss battle, which we didn't talk about, he's got reds that he hits really hard. He's got yellows that he hits really hard. That is a very nice bonus. Yellows and reds. So that's the 2 colors he can hit hard for boss battle. So yeah, I think he's a great card, great addition, and does stuff like the botches. I don't have, for sure at Powerhouse, I don't have a botch guy that I'm using that does damage, right? So I want him for that reason alone, and I think he's a good addition. Let me know what you guys think. I hopefully you enjoyed the showcase, and this is a really cool Seth in my opinion. I think he's great, and his trainer is very, very good when it's needed, right? His coach, so that's good. The links are weak at the moment, but I see potential there, and the hot tag is nice. And yeah, we'll see what extras he ends up getting long term, but I feel like he'll probably end up with moment or gear at some point, whether it's now or later. Anyway, that's what I got for you guys. Remember to like, subscribe, and share because that really helps me out. Other than that, thanks for watching. Good luck out there. Yeah, he's good. Very good. Good stuff.